would you say to give hope to a church that may not currently have younger adults and youth? What is that word of hope to them if they're currently a church of older adults right now?
Well, it's happened before.
It's happened before. I love
It's happened before.
that.
And God seems to be working around his church to
Mm,
get the attention of a lot of young people at the moment. So I
mhm,
believe it's also happening again.
mm,
And I was reflecting on the story of the two sisters, Peggy and Christine Smith, who
mhm,
lived on the Isle of Lewis. And in November 1949, they began to feel a heavy burden from the Lord about the fact that there was no young people in their parish church. And at the ages of
mhm,
82 and 84, they began to pray, and they were gripped by this verse in Isaiah 44:3. I will pour water on him that is thirsty and floods upon the dry ground. I'll pour water
mhm,
on him that is thirsty and floods upon the dry ground. And they were both so burdened they decided to spend this lengthy
mhm,
time in prayer twice a week. So on Tuesdays and Fridays, they'd get on their knees at 10 o'clock in the evening, and they'd often
mhm,
remain on their knees until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. This is two old ladies. One is infirm, and the other is blind, but both of them had spiritual sight to see what God was wanting to do. And their
mhm,
response was prayer.
mhm,
And you probably know what happened next. The Spirit of God began to fall heavily on this island. And when that happened, there was a dance going on in a
mhm,
parish hall with 100 young people in, and they were just having a good time. They weren't thinking about God or eternity. Uh, God wasn't in their thoughts at all. But that night, when those prayers began to get answered, the power of God
mhm,
fell upon this dance. And the
mhm,
music stopped within a matter of minutes, and the hall emptied as these young people fled towards the church building. It's extraordinary. Now, I don't know what's going to happen, but I just know that God has done these things before.
mhm,
Now, in this case, it was in response to fervent prayer that they'd heard
mhm,
God. And in that, there was a cost that they were paying. I'm sure they would rather have been in bed asleep a couple of nights a
yeah.
week. But God
Mm,
impressed upon them
mhm,
his heart for the younger generation.
mhm,
And so I don't think we can get away from that. There has to be something that changes in us if we're to
mm,
make space, either in our prayer lives or our homes or our
mm,
diaries. That and we'll have to make that space probably before they
mhm,
come or before we find ourselves going to them. Uh,
mhm.
but I think there's hope there because God wants, that's the book you've been reading by Ricky about the
Oh,
turning spots, and it's such a
mhm,
wonderful book, and I do believe we're in that time, that Malachi 4 time.
mm,
But we have to turn our hearts. It's not going to happen if our hearts
mm,
aren't turned. And
mm,
that turning might be a little bit painful. It might reveal a few things that we
mhm,
don't want to let go of or we don't want to move. But I think part of that turning means that we get ready.
mhm,
We get ready to welcome young people in a whole new way. And for most people, it won't be
mhm.
loads. It will probably
Yeah.
be ones or twos here and there, just
Mm,
playing our parts.
yeah.
Um,
Mm.
and
Well,
the wonderful thing is, the young
mm.
people actually, my observation is they love spending time with older Christians. Um,